Hello everyone, welcome to our first vlog edition. Today we're sitting down with Aaron Sloup, who is one of the founding members of KC Hub, an organization that is kind of moving and shaking the Kansas City area, which is why we wanted him to be one of our first subjects.
Hey,
so tell us a little bit about KC Hub. What is your kind of vision for Kansas City and what do you want to do here?
Sure, so KC Hub kind of came out of the need for Kansas City to really build up our ecosystem for innovation, and we saw what was going on in other regions, and everyone kind of looks at Silicon Valley as like the, really the epitome of what it takes to be an ecosystem for innovation. And we took some of those concepts and said, all right, why isn't that happening in Kansas City? I mean, we have all these cool things. We have Kauffman, and we have Stowers Institute, and we have UMKC and KU Med. We've got a lot of cool startups here. And we kind of looked at that and said, you know what, this could really happen here. Who's out there doing that? So we kind of went back and started doing some research and said, all right, what group is really pushing that agenda in Kansas City? And what we found is there was nobody with kind of that holistic vision of how we create that here. And so we went and decided to form KC Hub. We said, let's do something about this. So that's really where the organization came from.
And your vision, I mean, look where we're positioned in the country. Kansas City is right smack in the middle. So do you see that being a big advantage for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at some different things, one, the cost of labor here is a lot cheaper than either of the coasts. Cost of electricity, that's huge for like data centers and anything to do with IT. As far as transit, the flights are shorter, and if you're flying from New York to LA, that's a lot longer flight, and if you're flying out there for a meeting or something, meet with some potential investors, I mean, just being centrally located like that has a lot of advantages.
And obviously you can't speak for Google, but do you think that went into their whole decision-making process, where we stand, KCK, as being why they chose it to be their hub of their fiber network, or one of their guinea pigs, so to say?
Yeah, I think they kind of recognize the potential and the need here. I think they kind of saw some of the same things, that we have a lot of the raw materials, if you will, and they just saw kind of that potential and said, let's go invest in that. And I was part of actually the bid for Kansas City, Missouri, and so I was part of that and was really excited about trying to get it here and just somewhere in the metro. I didn't really care where, and so yeah, I'm pumped about having it here.
I'm going on 10 years now of knowing Aaron Sloup here, and so I know you pretty well. And I know that you kind of have that entrepreneurial mindset. You really you love business and you love the inner workings, and you're a really smart individual. So when you started KC Hub, it's a natural fit for you. So, but what made you want to do that and not something else? Why did you want to help all of Kansas City instead of maybe just yourself?
Sure, because I think the environment has to be here first. You can go out and do things and start a business on your own without kind of the ecosystem that we're talking about creating and promoting, but it's a lot harder in that type of an environment. So if you can put that groundwork and that framework in, everything becomes a lot easier.
Let's hypothetically say that an Intel might be looking at Kansas City to put some kind of warehouse or maybe even a distribution center or something. Maybe not Intel, but a different company. But would you want them to come to KC Hub and maybe look to you guys for a little bit of insight on the area and the metro?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of organizations that do that well here. So we could definitely point them to the organizations to find that information that they need. Kansas City Area Development Council does a great job of that. So yeah, I mean, we could provide a lot of insight on what we have and point them to the right people, really.
Let's talk about how other people can get involved in KC Hub, because I'm sure by now people do know about you and they want to kind of help you in any way possible. So what can they do?
Sure. So one of the best ways is, and this is kind of a little sneak preview, I guess, we're opening up our community. Right now, our site has several content partners that we're calling them, and we looked at that as kind of, all right, let's find some people in the community that are really kind of leading the way in innovation, and Think Big Partners is one of those, the venue that we're at right now. And so we got them on board. Herb and those guys have been great. They post a lot of information about innovative things going on, conferences and different events in Kansas City. And so that was great having the content partners. What we've seen since then is there's really a need to open up that platform and let kind of individual innovators really get out there and tell their story, talk about cool things that are going on, post events that are going on in Kansas City, and just really get the word out and kind of build that community and that ecosystem.
Kind of the last thing I want to talk about with you, Aaron, you participated in Startup Weekend here just a few weeks ago. So talk about your experience and the young people and the old people that you met at Startup Weekend, and kind of what did you learn about Kansas City, about yourself, and then about all the other people involved?
Sure. I think one of the coolest things is just the energy in an event like that. It's everybody who's very passionate about what they're doing, very passionate about helping others, and just just kind of creating that community and that feel. And yeah, everybody's kind of trying to launch their own business, and Startup Weekend is a competition to try to get funded and to try to win the competition. But at the same time, everyone sees it as an opportunity to really showcase their talent and to provide their knowledge to other teams and help kind of build these startups that can come out of that.
And would you say Kansas City, it kind of proved to you that Kansas City has the talent to be extremely successful in a startup situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the coolest things that I came out of that saying, this is the companies that were presenting there at the end of that were companies that you would see coming out of these major hubs throughout the country, and that was really cool just to see. In 54 hours, this is what a team in Kansas City put together. And I think we'll see a lot more of that with the Google Fiber project coming here.
And just in case people don't know what Startup Weekend is, pretty much it's a bunch of people, they come in for the weekend, they got 54 hours, a bunch of ideas are pitched, they select X amount of ideas, there's X amount of people on a team, and then next thing you know, Sunday night, after Friday, Saturday, and Sunday day of brainstorming, they've literally created a company, at least the inner workings of a company, to where they can almost roll out in a matter of moments. So if you don't know what Startup Weekend is, you definitely should find a way to get involved with it. They do it every year. This is what, the third or the fourth one in Kansas City?
I think this is the third one, and Adam Coombs and Stephen Chow are kind of the local organizers, so you've probably heard those names if you're kind of in the innovation scene in Kansas City. And I think the next one's going to be in November of this year.
Awesome. And how can people get a hold of you? Twitter, Facebook, and whatnot?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have a KC Hub Twitter account, KC_Hub, and then kchub.org. That has all of our contact information on there. You can contact us. There's a contact form. We also have Facebook group, LinkedIn group, kind of all this.
All right, Aaron Sloup again, KC Hub. Go check them out, kchub.org. And we'll see you next time on our next edition of our vlog.